I accidentally hugged a big fat guy over the weekend. A couple buddies of mine, a couple of my buddies, they go down to school in West Virginia. Came up for the weekend just to hang out, and I haven't seen any of them since May. I went to high school with them, but I haven't seen them all in a long time since quarantine. And now I'm not saying because of quarantine. I'm saying since we had a quarantine. And so after work on Friday, I got invited over to hang out with my buddy Wade, and he had brought up Trip and Robbie from West Virginia with him. And he texted me after work and said, "Hey, Trip, Robbie, and me are all hanging out, and a buddy from college. If you wanna come over for a fire." I was like, "Yeah, that sounds awesome." So I drive there after work, because it's only a hop, skip, and a jump away to get back to my hometown. Where it's not, it's for them, it's like 3 hours. So I'm like, well, if you guys already made the drive, I'll be home. Um, So I get there. Wade opens the door for me. I give him a hug, give him a handshake. I don't even know if I gave him a hug. I probably at least shook his hand. He's like, "Hey, we're all hanging out in the back. If you want to go in the back by the fire." So I was like, "All right, all right." And then I saw Robbie. So I gave Robbie a hug because I haven't seen him in a long time. And I was like, it's good to see you, Rob. It's good to see you. And then I saw Trip. And Trip in high school was just like beefy guy. Played football, and he had like the classic shaved sides of the head with this swoop on the top, like the hipster cut, and some chin music. So I saw the guy with the haircut and the chin music, and I was like, all right, Trip, bring it in. So I gave him a big hug, and then I was kind of thinking, I was like, all right, Trip's gained a few, Trip's packed on a few pounds. You know what? That's no big deal. That's college, baby. That'll happen. So what? Trip packed on a few pounds. So what? And then so then he was like, "Who is this?" And I was like, "Okay, buddy." I was like, "It's Harry." And he goes, "Who?" I was like, "It's Harry." So I was thinking just like, all right, Trip's clearly out of it. He must have gotten in a car accident and still hasn't gone to the hospital. He hit his head really hard. He's forgetting what's going on. All right, no worries. I'll re-jog your memory. It's me, Harry. You remember me? So giving him a hug, and then I look over at the fire, and I see on like one of the stoops, like the tree trunk seats we were sitting on, I saw another kid over there that looked just like Trip. And I was like, well, this doesn't make sense. How am I hugging Trip and also looking at Trip in just sitting there on a seat? And then I realized I'm not hugging Trip. This is just some random guy. This is the guy that Wade brought back from college that I've never met in my life, and now I'm giving a big, huge hug like I just had seen Trip for the first time in 6 months. Which in my mind is what happened. But then I saw Trip and I was just like, oh, hey, what's up? What's up, Trip? Now what am I supposed to waste the big hug on Trip? Or am I supposed to redo the hug? I'm like, there was your hug. I already got you the hug. So that was embarrassing. Like when you wave to someone's waving to the person behind you, but you think it's at you, so you wave back, and then you turn around and be like, oh wait, no, they're waving to that old man. Yeah, of course. Why would this old woman be waving to me? I've never seen her in my life. That's what happened to me. Except I gave the old lady a big, huge hug instead of just ignoring her with a wave. But I will say, one of the funniest things that's ever happened to me in my life. One of the funniest things that's ever happened to me in my life. Make sure to enunciate your words. Because if you don't, it just comes off as lazy, and no one wants a lazy person doing their work. Especially if you're going to be an English major like me. Which I still haven't said. I keep bringing that up only because I haven't officially changed yet. So I'm allowed to be sarcastic about it. Let me drink some coffee here, please. Speaking of coffee, yesterday I had 2 cups for my econ and then my math class. And then Jason wanted to go to the new clubhouse that just got built for our apartment complex. They've got like pool tables and ping pong tables and a gym and stuff, so we wanted to go play pool. I was like, hey, you don't got to tell me twice, buddy. So I got there and they had free coffee sitting in the clubhouse. And I was like, well, I'm not going to pass this up. So I got a cup of French roast Starbucks and chugged that, mother. played maybe the greatest games of pool. Actually, gotta be honest, probably the worst games of pool I've ever played in my life. I don't know if this table was askew or something was wrong with the Earth's gravitational pull. But let's just say thank God I'm got out of engineering because this made no sense to me how these balls were not going in the hole. Whatever, it's been a while since I got a game in. I guess practice makes perfect, but I normally am a little better at pool. And so I chugged a cup of coffee, and then you know what? I finished it, and then I was like, you know what? I'm doing that again. I chugged another cup of coffee. So I had been drinking coffee from 8 o'clock in the morning till this was 2:30 now, and we went back home, and then I'm just sitting there. I was watching a movie in my room, and it just kind of hit me all at once. Like even the coffees that I drank well, maybe the 8 o'clock coffees I guess hit me first, but it took till like 3:30 to hit me. And then we went to work, and then I was just bouncing off the walls because I had had so much coffee, which is so embarrassing to say. I hate saying it like that. Like that makes me sound like a little girl where I'm like, oh my God, I was having a sugar rush. I had 3 Jolly Ranchers. Oh my God, I was running around the apartment. But I guess I chug coffee all the time. I'm chugging it right now. Here you can see or hear it. That's my white coffee mug I'm drinking out of. And I normally drink a lot of coffee, 2 cups a day at least. But I guess 4 really adds up because that hit me unlike anything else, and I crashed hard. But now it's 8 o'clock in the morning, so I got a deep sleep, but not a good sleep. You know what else I got? I got a new comforter at Boscov's. Now I don't know if this is just like a Pennsylvania East Coast, like East North Coast. I don't know what Pennsylvania is considered in accordance with the rest of the country. But Boscov's is like a department store, but it's got real cheap stuff, but real good stuff. It's got like, I mean, not cheap as in Dollar Tree crap, but just like Gildan sweatshirts, plain T-shirts, like college hoodies, but it's like Gildan or Hanes, so it's nothing crazy. But I got a comforter there, which is more like a quilt. No problem. It's just a little thinner. But normally on my bed I just have a blue comforter. And I was just thinking like this is not me. Like I need something that when I look back on college, it's like that was a college kind of bed to have. So I got a bedspread that's like green plaid, trees, pine cones, and bear images. What's the word? Pattern. Bear pattern. Which, I mean, I like the outdoors, but I don't know how much of it is because I actually like the design and how much of it is because I know it's a weird design for me to have. So I like that it's on my bed. It's kind of funny. I think it's because I haven't had a lady in so long, actually ever, that I realized like I decorated my room to just be a total like my what my the inside of my head looks like, which is just hats hanging on the wall, Fight Club poster, a poster of me and my cousins, poster of my cousin, or a picture of my cousin that I took. Like I think I talked about it before, the one where he's fishing off the dock. Then I have Pulp Fiction, Animal House, and then a big Dumb and Dumber poster. Which when I was like, oh, this is hilarious. I finally got a Dumb and Dumber poster. And then I realized like, if I ever, you know, start talking to a lady and say, hey, you want to check out my DVD shelf? She's gonna come in here and go, what the hell do you have oops, didn't mean to swear. What do you have a big poster of Dumb and Dumber on your wall for? That's quite attractive. So I've got to think about how I design my room because now it's like, why do you have the comforter of an 80-year-old man from the 1980s? So I'll think about how I design my room. But for me, when it's just me in here, I love it in here. I love my room. I think all the White Coffee subscribers should be allowed to take a room tour of Harrison Brinker. Which, if you want, just come over. I'm sure. I wonder if you could just. There's probably websites that have my address somewhere. I mean, I've signed leases that have my name attached. They're probably in the public domain somewhere. If you can, I'll tell you what. If you can find my address, I'll hang out with you. Let me chug some coffee here, please. I watched Borat 2 on Sunday. Gotta say, not that great. It was good for what it was. I can understand it. For the point of it being, um, I am Borat. I could not go out in public anymore with people recognizing me. Yeah, Borat was so popular that when he went outside, people would recognize him no matter where he went. I mean, Barstool or what? Not even Barstool, but just I remember when the news came out, like people were getting pictures of Sacha Baron Cohen recording Borat 2, and it was like, uh-oh, for real? And you could see like the genuine, real life reaction of like people going, "Oh my God, it's Borat." So it's clear that he's not able to go out in public without being recognized. So then they introduce like the character of his daughter and had her do all the Borat stuff. But I don't know. It's not the same. It's just not the same. And I don't want a movie exactly the same as the first one, like Dumb and Dumber. Exactly, like Dumb and Dumber 2 was absolutely terrible, and it's just a word for word copy. Hangover 2 is funny, but it's terrible. It's just a exact copy of the first one. Dumb and Dumber 2 is a lot more guilty than Hangover 2 when it comes to copying the first movie word for word, because it seriously does just take all the same jokes. I'm not gonna get into a big argument with myself on Dumb and Dumber 2. All I'm saying is Borat 2, the jokes in it, same with Hangover 2. The jokes in it were funny. It made me laugh a lot, but it certainly did not come close to the first one. The first Borat is one of the funniest movies of this century, the past 100 years. So I'm not going into it expecting, oh, the second one's got to be twice as funny as the first one. It's got to be twice as funny as or this the newest number one funny movie of all time. That's twice as funny as any other movie. I'm not saying that. I'm not expecting that. But it certainly wasn't. It just certainly wasn't the same. There wasn't a lot of scenes with Borat, I guess, is the thing. And then in the end, like, what? I don't really care if they're gonna talk politics in a movie. I don't. Like, it's annoying, but at this point, there's politics everywhere. So what am I gonna be surprised? I'm not surprised that they're talking about it, I guess, and it doesn't affect me as much as it could. Um, but then the end of the movie, they're just talking about how stupid Trump is. Basically, the whole movie is just them saying Trump's terrible, which is fine. But then in the end, the final credits are vote or be executed, like kind of in a satirical way. But then it's just like, well, so what? This whole movie was just like a big commercial about voting, and they didn't say who to vote for. They're just saying vote. But I'm like, my whole critique going into this movie, I was talking to Jason about it, just saying like the first one, there's some culture references that like 20 years from now people probably won't get. You know, like the whole movie's about him wanting to go find Pamela Anderson from Baywatch, a show from the 80s. Like so if you're born in 2010, you're not even going to know who that lady is. I barely know it. I just know it because I love movies so much. So I've heard the name Pamela Anderson. I know what Baywatch is because I saw the SpongeBob movie where David Hasselhoff's running on the beach. But those references are like that's whatever. The movie still stands on its own. If it's not Pamela Anderson, it doesn't have to be Pamela Anderson in the movie. You could just say like, oh, actually I meant Lindsay Lohan, which I guess even that's an outdated reference. But regardless, like the movie stands on its own, despite some of the references it makes. Whereas this one, the whole thing is just about like 2020. It's just about 2020, where it's half about Trump and Mike Pence, and then the next half is about coronavirus, which is like interesting to see that in a movie. Like it's cool to see the take of what Borat would be doing in coronavirus. I get it, but also I want to be able to watch this in 10 years. Or I want people that weren't involved in politics. Like I want a 5-year-old in 10 years to be able to watch this and go, oh, that makes sense. I remember that. Where now it's like, what the hell are they? Jeez, I'm swearing a lot. What are they? What's a 5-year-old going to get out of this movie? Or a 15-year-old, but 10 years from now? Like, they're not going to have an opinion on Corona other than just, I don't know. I don't know. It's just, you're kind of locking yourself into a certain type of audience when you make the movie so specific. You know what I mean? Also, if anyone knows how to design a shirt, sorry about the phone. I'm very popular today. The Harley Davidson earnings call is starting on Robinhood. All right, if anyone knows how to design a shirt, could someone please make one? Well, not please. That sounds terrible. Someone go ahead and design one that says, you know what I mean. Design it anyway. You can put my face on it. You can put the white coffee logo on it. But I re-listen to these episodes after I'm done just to see like what would just try to look at the perspective of an audience member and think, does anyone actually like this? And I realize I say, you know what I mean, all the time. I might have already said this before in the show, but I guess it's more just about like this is just me saying my thoughts. So the whole time I'm very insecure about like anyone actually following along what I'm saying, because I don't know how specific my thoughts get and how niche I am. Niche. I don't know how to pronounce that word, but how particular I get, and if anyone actually agrees with me on stuff, or if I am actually completely average and everyone agrees with me on this stuff. Um, I'm uncertain though, so I usually end my sentences where I go, you know what I mean? But I end my sentences with, you know what I mean? And I end White Coffee episodes with the song of the day. And today's song of the day is, well, let me think about it because I forgot. Today's song of the day is Kids Don't Fall by the Replacements. Now, I've gotten a ton of copyright claims, and if you notice the last two episodes of just completely blank spots over where the songs are, it's because YouTube copyrighted me, so I had to just take them out of the video so I could make money. Which I right now I can't make money, but normally I would just leave the songs in and say I don't care if you take my ad revenue. But YouTube wasn't like posting the videos. Like I think the end of last episode we saw that there was only 13 views on the episode from last Tuesday. And it was like, all right, I'm not expecting 80. The one before that had 80, but this one shouldn't only have 13. Come on. So I'm going to play this song short enough that I don't get a copyright claim. It's called Kids Don't Follow by the Replacements. It starts with like a 20-second intro of a recording of an actual party from the 80s where the police knock on the door and they go, "This is the Minneapolis police. The party is over." And then you just hear all the kids at the party just yelling back, "F you! What's the hassle? What's the hassle?" So hopefully I lined it up right so I don't have to play very much of it and get in trouble. But here we go. Here we go. Kids Don't Follow by the Replacements. I'm going to talk over it for a sec so I don't get copyright claim, but here we go. Now that's a good song. I'm sure that's long enough to get me copyright claimed. So if this video is posted and there's just a muted section there, it's not because I forgot to play the song. It's because I played the song and YouTube said that's much too long for that good of a song. And I said, "Do you always talk on rhyme?" And they say, "We talk on rhyme all the time." And so I had to take that chunk out. Regardless, it's called Kids Don't Follow by the Replacements from the album Stink. I don't know if I'm supposed to be giving commentary on every single song ever. That's another one of my favorite songs. I don't know if it might be my top 5. It's weird because it's like a punk song, but I don't know, it just has like a sad tone. I don't know if I'm correct when I say it sounds like it's in minor key. I don't know if that's true, but you know, like the Batman theme, but it sounds a little pitch lower, key lower or something like that. I don't know how that works because I don't know music. Regardless, great song. I think it just sounds like teenage angst, which is cool. Speaking of teenage angst, when you're an angsty teenager, you probably are upset with having to go to school. And a good word for not wanting to go to school and not showing up for school is truancy. 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 That's today's word of the day. And it's a noun describing the action. No, not describing. It is the action of staying away from school without good reason. Absenteeism. He had a history of truancy and expulsion from high school. I don't know how you can have a history of expulsion. I think you can just do that once. Regardless, truancy is a cool word. And it's a professional word to talk about not going to school. You know what else is professional? I'm done with doing these transitions. The movie Annie Hall. Now, Woody Allen, of course, got himself in hot water with the whole Me Too movement. But this movie still good. It didn't make this movie any worse. So, this is from 1977, a romantic comedy. 98% on Rotten Tomatoes, and 8 out of 10 on IMDb. That's pretty good reviews right there. Hour and a half long. PG. Comedian Alvy Singer, Woody Allen, examines the rise and fall of his relationship with struggling nightclub singer Annie Hall, Diane Keaton. Speaking directly to the audience in front of a bare background, Singer reflects briefly on his childhood and his early adult years before setting in to tell the story of how he and Annie met, fell in love, and struggled with the obstacles of modern romance, mixing surreal fantasy sequences with small moments of emotional drama. And it won the Academy Award for Best Picture. Um, yeah, it was cool. I'd always heard about the movie. I never really knew what it was about or how it went about telling the story. But it started off with Woody Allen just in front of a blank screen, and he was just saying like what they just said in the description, like talking about his life and was saying, yeah, me and Annie, blah blah blah, like talking right to the audience. And it was very cool. There's a funny scene in it where he was with his friends. Him and Annie were with their two friends, and they were like, "Oh, I can't." This is the '70s. "Oh, I can't believe you've never snorted cocaine before." And then he's like, "I just don't like stuff up my nose. I don't like stuff up my nose." And then he picks up this I don't know, case for the cocaine. It looks like the old business card holder from American Psycho, eggshell white. Anyway, so he's picking it up. He goes, "How much is this?" And the guy turns to him. He goes, "About $2,000 an ounce." And then he goes, "Achoo!" And pff, all the cocaine flies everywhere throughout the room. Man, that's just classic. And I know that must be a classic scene for anyone who knows about movies. They go, "Oh yeah, the classic Annie Hall cocaine scene." And I'd seen clips about it before because I'm one of those movie people. But I finally watched the movie, so now I'm telling you guys about it. This is very meta. Now I'm the one telling you about it. When I was just talking about someone who would tell you about it, but now that's me. Anyway, good movie. Good movie, Annie Hall. Another, yeah, I don't know. I was at the store, so I guess I said I was at the mall over the weekend because I got those sheets from Boscov's. I also went to FYE. If you have an FYE in your mall, you should just move in there in the back because it's the coolest store of all time. They had Annie Hall, Fargo on Blu-ray, and Office Space on Blu-ray. And I've never seen Office Space. I don't know how because I would like to consider myself a movie buff. I know about Office Space. I guess that's all I mean when I say movie buff. It's just I know a lot about different movies, but I've never seen any of them. But I finally bought it so I can watch it. And of course, I already saw Fargo. We were talking about that on the last episode or the episode before that. But that was on Blu-ray for $5. And there was a Ferris Bueller's Day Off Steelbook Blu-ray for $15. And I was like, should I buy this? Should I buy this? I already have Ferris Bueller on DVD, but it is one of my favorite movies. And I looked on Amazon and the Steelbook was $30, and I was like, look, it's $15. I'd be getting a deal. But I didn't buy it, which I guess is, why am I talking about it? Anyway, I saw it, I guess. So if anyone wants to buy it, they exist. But those are my stories of the weekend. I think I went through the thick of it. Had hugging that big fat guy, thinking it was Trip. I guess I didn't go into it that more, but then the next day, uh, I went back to Wade's house, and Trip and Robbie were still there, and they were like, "Why'd you hug that guy?" And I was like, "Ooh, gotta be honest, Trip. I thought you were gonna be fatter. So when I saw that big fat guy, I just assumed that must be you. And then I gave him a hug and not you." And they just started dying laughing, and I was dying laughing, and Jason was there the night before, and he had called me the next morning, dying laughing, and it's just like I was just driving home, and I can't stop laughing about how funny that is, and it is funny. I'm not gonna say it's not funny. I agree it's funny. It's embarrassing, but it was pretty funny. Very stupid, and I hope Trip doesn't get hurt that I assumed he was so fat. So all I can say is, when you go to a party and you give some guy a big hug, make sure you look at his face before you give him a hug. And I did the same thing as I talked about last week, where I said, "Oh, how come some people can say, oh, this is unbelievable. I must believe it." I did that with Trip, where I looked at him and I was like, this doesn't make sense for Trip to be this fat. All right, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Where I should have just trusted my gut and said, well, then this probably isn't Trip. Trip's probably the guy sitting over there on that bench who's actually, in fact, slimmed down from high school. Good for you, Trip. So that's the end of the episode, my friends. 24 minutes. Um, we always like to go behind the scenes now with white coffee. So let's see how YouTube. Let's check out the YouTube dashboard while we're here, if it loads, and see how the view counts are doing. I think we're only about 30 views on the last episode, which is all right. Tuesday we looked at the views, and the one before that, Thursday episode, had 80. But of course, this one has 44. Not so bad, not so bad. Um, I like to keep at least, an average of 40. I like a lot of weird stuff as 94. That's cool. So Make sure you're sharing these episodes, posting the links on Twitter, sliding up, put them in your Instagram stories, something like that. It's nice to have an audience. I guess even like when I think of people that watch this episode, I think of two. Uh, I think of two people that I know for sure watched the show. Um, and it's weird that when I look at the view count and I see 44 or even 32, like a low number like 32, it's weird that I don't go, wait a minute, I only thought there was two, and now this is 20 times as much. I don't know. It's weird. It's nice to know, like 44 doesn't seem like a lot in general, but when you think about it, it's like there's 44 views on a video that I just talked for 30 minutes. That's cool. But go ahead and share these videos. As long as I'm getting enough views, I'll keep doing them. Even if I only get one view an episode, I'll keep doing them. But if we can keep building up this channel, it's a fun thing to do. I want to have reason to keep doing it though. I don't want to just keep doing it just because. I guess is all. Like I will do it just because, but I also want to have a reason. That's more fun. So go ahead and share this video. Let's get it up to 1,000,000 likes. Smash that like button. Smash that subscribe. And hopefully you like the song of the day. If it's muted, go check it out on your own. I hope you all enjoyed this episode of White Coffee with Harrison Brinker.